Hello and welcome to Amá CONVERSA. I'm your host, Marisa Silva Hasha, and I am so excited today to have on a very talented musician, Brian Camara. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well, Marissa. Thanks for having me.
Of
Appreciate it.
course. Thanks for being here. So where are you right now? Are you in Oakland?
I am, yeah. I'm here at my
Okay,
house here in Oakland, West Oakland. Been here for about 6 years. But yeah, before
nice.
this, yeah, I've been kind of like all over the Bay Area and LA for a couple of years also.
Oh, wow. And what is the difference between LA and Bay Area? Different vibe, right?
Yeah, different vibe. I went down there to pursue music down there. I've been in Hollywood for
Oh,
a year. I was there for a music school in Los
oh,
Angeles,
wow.
Hollywood. And yeah, it's called Musicians Institute. And so
Oh,
I was there just kind of pursuing music down there with the music school. And yeah, I was there for 2 years pursuing music and kind of gigged around in LA and picked up a couple of touring gigs while I was down there.
wow.
And then that got wrapped up. And I was thinking about sticking around in LA, but I had too many friends and family here in the Bay Area. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I miss the Bay Area a lot.
Life is
It's
precious, right? Life is precious. No amount of money could equate to having your family and your friends close by, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, and then just like, we come from the same kind of culture, like, our families are very like tight knit, so it was very important to be back with my family, with my mom and dad, with my brother and sister, my niece and nephew, all my cousins
Absolutely.
and stuff. Yeah. So it was important to come back.
Your family is originally from Madeira Island, right?
That's right. Yeah. Both of
That's
my
so
parents.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. They're both from the city, Calieta.
Oh, wow. And you've been there before or not yet?
No, I've been several times. My parents
Oh,
took me one
nice.
time when I was like 4 years old, I think.
Oh,
And at
wow.
first, I didn't remember. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember little things. My mom still has photos when we were like little toddlers,
Yeah.
And then we went again when I was 20 years old. And
Oh,
then
that must have been fun.
yeah, then I went recently about 4 years ago. And
Oh,
yeah, it was a great time. And
what's your
I'm
favorite thing about going back over there?
I guess just seeing my family and catching up with them. And then
Yeah.
just the beauty of the island. It's just so like it's so tranquil. It's such, life is it goes by a lot slower compared to like being here in like California, the typical rat race of like,
Island life. Yeah.
yeah, the island life. Yeah, definitely. It is almost like I heard like in Europe they call Madeira like the Hawaii of Europe,
Yes, I
It's
was just about
crazy.
to get into that. That it probably has a lot of positive, tranquil, aloha type vibes on
Yeah.
Madeira Island as well. And I've seen
Yeah.
some photos and it really does look like Hawaii. It really does.
Mhm.
So it's kind
Yeah,
of
it's
similar
beautiful.
to Azores. A lot of places in the Azores look like Hawaii as well. So when I took my husband to Hawaii, he was like, wow, I feel like I'm at home, but you get the benefit of both worlds. You get it looking like the Azores and you got that island life going on, but then you get the benefits of it being America. So that's why he
Right.
likes it because it's like a two-in-one deal, you know?
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally.
So
Yeah.
let's tell the people how we know each other. So me and Brian actually worked together on a small little project, which was Dia de Portugal for 2022.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
we did fado music, and we also did the song that was in the Eurovision for that year. It won for Portugal. So that
Hmm.
song was called Saudade. And we
Yeah.
did that song, and it was a very, very out of the box thing. But I'm so
Hmm.
happy that we did it. And hopefully in the future, we can rock out to that song or to more songs after that. But we also did a BJM Hayward 100th anniversary. We
Yeah.
jammed out on stage together. We rocked out. You were, in cahoots with Luis back there, going
Yeah.
crazy. So for
Yeah.
those who don't know, Brian is a drummer and percussionist. So during Dia de Portugal, he actually did cajon for me. And
Hmm.
then when we did BGM, I think you were just doing some type of percussions back there, right?
Yeah, so I was joining Luis back. He had
Yeah,
like congas and then also like bells and blocks and like shakers and stuff. So
yeah.
I was joining him, kind of blending in with the music and just kind of having fun, just kind of
It
jamming back and
was
forth.
super
Yeah,
fun. That was a
it was
fun
good fun.
group. I just
Yeah.
love that positive vibe. Like when we're all jamming and really just getting into it, it's like it's a crazy, unexplainable energy to be around, right?
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. Because we kind of feed off each other's like, when we're getting into the groove, we're enjoying it. And then
Yes.
the things that we do, maybe a lyrical line that you're saying, maybe a percussion lick that I'm doing, maybe a guitar lick, it all kind of like, it's an interaction. It's a good energy.
It's very good energy, and another thing that's very cool is that we, especially on the BJM night, we are all extremely very different, even
Mhm.
different like ages and different experiences, different backgrounds, and even we all lived in different towns and different cities. So it's kind of cool when we're all super different, but then we come together and we unify for one specific significant thing that we all have in common. And I think that's very powerful. And that's probably why the energy is the way it is, because you have all these different components coming together to just make a masterpiece type of a thing.
Exactly. Yeah. We're all there for one cause, so it's,
Exactly.
it's nice. Yeah. It's very
And
beautiful.
then another thing, what do you do in your day to day? Aren't you kind of like a music instructor, or was it a drum line instructor? Something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm still like a teacher. Like I teach on the side, kind of part-time on the weekends. I have a rehearsal studio over here
Oh,
in Jack London Square in Oakland.
oh
And I have
wow.
students that come to my studio of all age ranges, as young as like 7, 8 years old to as old as, I got a couple of retired cats, 60 years
Yeah.
old, 65. And we'll go through drum set
Drums?
lessons.
Drums?
Yeah, and then also, I was forming. It's still kind of like in the works. Uh, a drumline project for this
Yeah.
entertainment group here in Oakland called Jazz Mafia. They have multiple ensembles and they do like private parties and corporate events. And
What?
yeah, and we're putting together this drumline to play these like different like private parties and stuff.
That's so
So
cool.
yeah, so because I had a background, I have a pretty extensive background in playing in drumline in like high school. I played in the marching band and then also played at San Jose State University
Oh
marching band.
yeah.
So I played the drumline over there, and then I also spent a couple years in Santa Clara in the South Bay playing with the drum corps called the Santa Clara Vanguard.
Oh my
And
God, that's so cool,
yeah,
dude.
so I spent it's a long season in 2005 2006. We'd spend all summer just rehearsing like every day 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. rehearsing
Wow,
and just building our chops, working on the show. And
wow.
yeah, so I had a pretty extensive background playing a drum line. I just love the power of, you know,
Drumline.
about 15, 16 drummers all coming together to make one sound. And it's so powerful, it just hits you right
Yeah.
here in the chest, like boom, boom, like I don't know, it's really great. But when you see all the drummers moving in unison and so regimented and like I don't know, it's really cool. It really like struck a chord to me when I saw it. I was just like, damn, I want to do that. And
Yeah.
so I kind of you get to a certain age limit where you can't really do that anymore because of like the activity. They have an age limit when you can do it. But then I still
Oh,
have some drummers, who kind of aged out and like, hey, how about we keep this going? And then this project kind of came up, like, all right, let's see if we can get this going. So it's kind of in the works right now.
that's so cool. So you're basically trying to tell me that there is a specific age range for drumline, and then you age out, and you guys are starting something new where you get the older cats in. That doesn't really happen, or that's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So in the drum corps activity, Drum Corps International, uh, there's a certain age limit you can participate, and like the age out range is at 21.
Oh
So you can
wow.
be as young as in your teenage years, but once you get past 21, then you can't march anymore.
I think that's kind of like interesting but weird to me, right?
Yeah, but they have drum corps where I think it's called DCA, I believe, like Drum Corps of America,
Okay.
where there is no age limit, and then
Okay.
different members can like join and compete.
Okay,
So
that's
it's kind of a different thing, but DCI is definitely more well known and more competitive
oh
in that aspect.
wow. So
So,
there's like big old like competitions and groups, and kind of like in cheerleading when they all have those groups and they all compete. You
but
guys do stuff like that too?
exactly, yeah. So there's drum corps
Ah,
like literally like throughout the US and then even in Europe and stuff. But
wow.
we got two like major like world-class drum corps here in the Bay Area. You got the
Wow.
Santa Clara Vanguard and then you also have the Concord Blue Devils. And they're both known like internationally. They're like crazy good.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, yeah. So I was fortunate to have that experience to march with them for a couple of years and get some experience that way too. We'd spend
Wow.
all a whole summer in a charter van, with the whole drum corps, traveling around the whole US performing our field show with other drum
Seriously?
corps.
That
Yeah,
that is very demanding, right? And also physically demanding. You're marching and you're like drumming at the same
yeah,
time. So
yeah,
it,
yeah.
it's demanding on a lot of different things, your mental and on your physical, right?
Yeah, yeah, big time. There's a you need a great sense of like focus and discipline to do it. Your work ethic has to be there, and you have to be
Yeah.
super committed. You have to be on top of your game big time. And
Wow.
but yeah, and it definitely, it's a positive benefit in a lot of different things in your life. It just makes you, yeah, your work ethic, your commitment, and just it's a great experience. It taught me a lot. Taught me more about myself and about life and everything. And it was a
Yes.
good experience, really good
It's a
experience.
good thing for teens to get into, especially like you're saying, it creates those boundaries where they're gonna have to rely on themselves to make stuff happen, right? And in order to make
Exactly.
stuff happen, how do you do that? You need to strategize, you need to focus, just like everything you just said. So I
Mm.
think for kids, that is wonderful. And another thing I noticed, which you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, do you think, and this is a topic I've actually been talking to, like just casually with my best friend and just people in general that I come across, do you think, which I hope the answer is no, but I think your answer is going to be yes. Do you think that kids do not value music like they did when we were growing up or when our parents were growing up? Do you see some disinterest in it in school? Do you see them wanting to learn instruments still? Do you see any interest of that still?
That's a good question. Uh, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I'm not like super connected to the younger generation. I mean, I do have some younger like cousins who do play
Yeah.
music still, and
Okay, that's good.
it's and so I didn't. Sometimes I do pass by like my old elementary school or middle school, and I do see some students, walking out with like musical instrument cases and stuff.
Oh, that's a good thing. That is a good
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, but the music programs in a lot of different school districts have really been taking a toll.
Yeah.
Like funding has been getting cut quite a bit.
Yes.
It's really
Yes.
unfortunate. So
Yes. It's
there's
not
that's
as,
one
to me,
part.
it's not as like valued maybe as it was maybe years ago. And I think, I mean, I could be wrong. I'm a new time mom here. I have a 5-year-old and a 6-month-old. But I'm
Mhm.
saying, I think that of course the funding was a big part of it, but what that music did for kids, as long as I can remember when we were in school and my mom was in school, it did have the discipline and the focus, but it helps you in so many other aspects with your social, with the way
Mhm.
you comprehend, with the way you, even in math, for example, people who are good at music are usually good with math and numbers. It's all connected. It's like a domino effect, right? And I feel like
Mhm.
now that that is kind of missing from the system per se,
Yeah.
or maybe it's not as like a heavily influenced as before. I
Yeah.
think that might be a part of the puzzle why kids are the way they are. Of course, it has a lot to do with the devices, with the phones, with the social media, with
Yeah.
whatever.
That's another thing. Yeah.
I understand it's a totally different world now. But I think when we and when our parents and when, back then, I felt like if you had the music, it was more important to them then. To learn an instrument was very important. Sometimes you had to learn an instrument in school, they made you. And
Yeah.
now it's kind of like, not saying that we're very lenient on the kids now, but it's kind of like, there's always like a joke that the kids nowadays, they don't have to work hard because they're all rewarded in a way. So it's like
Yeah. Like
they all
everyone
get
gets a trophy.
rewarded. So it's like, well, there's no like incentive to learn an instrument or to challenge themselves mentally. I think it's like it's a weird world out there now, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. As far as like music being like a benefit in your education, there has been studies that have shown that like students who participate in like music classes, they do tend to excel more in math,
Yeah,
history, and English, because it's essentially you're learning like a new language, and it's kind of like firing off like triggering different parts of your brain, and you will excel in other you know classes in your schooling in high school or whatnot. And
That might be some of the piece of the puzzle that's missing here, because I do see the kids, and this is me just being an observer. I'm not trying to judge. I don't like to judge, but me being an observer from the outside in, it looks like some of these kids are completely out of control.
yeah, there could be that. I
Completely
mean,
out of
there's
control.
yeah, or you could be like what you said earlier. Maybe they're just access to the cell phones. They got the world at their
Yeah.
fingertips. And I got a couple of friends who were teachers in high school and or middle school even, and they talk about how kids with cell phones and not having access to social media at an early age, it's kind of like messing with
The
their
brain.
self-esteem and
Yeah.
online bullying and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
sounds very like unhealthy,
It
from that
is.
standpoint.
It is. It's a more in depth than we think. Because right now, me and you, we're literally just talking surface level. But if we really dissect it, which we're not doctors, but if we dissect it, it's doing a lot of harm. For example, my kid, she's only 5, but she does not have access to social media. She does
Yeah.
have access to YouTube Kids. In
Hmm.
Within the YouTube Kids, they start conditioning the kids already to know what social media is. Because they'll
Yeah.
be talking about it on those programs. They'll be like, subscribe to my YouTube or go to my Instagram, like stuff like that. And my kid does not know what that is, right? But she
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
this phone just for the Wi-Fi at home, and she thinks that everything is her Instagram.
Yeah.
So she'll go to her camera and she'll
Yeah.
go to her camera and she'll be like, Mom, I have so many likes on my Instagram.
Yeah. 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 That's so funny.
It's funny and cute, but then it's also a little bit alarming because it's like, of course, that's not Instagram, but it's kind of like, wow, my kid knows all these things without me teaching my kid that, you know?
Right. They're just learning it from other people, and yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
crazy.
wild. Yeah.
It is crazy. I know you're uncle, so you spend time with kids. But let's get back to the music real quick. So you had this experience with drumline at least 20 years, at least.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I kind of like took a break from it after I aged out, but I still, play for fun, like at home on my drum pad or whatnot. And then I still have some drum corps friends who are still kind of around the area, so we might get together and like chop out some exercises every now and then. But
Yeah,
then, but yeah, recently, a couple of years back, a friend of mine, a drummer in the area, he wanted to put this drumline thing together. So
that's so
yeah,
cool.
we're trying to get it going. We actually made a promo video for it.
What?
And yeah, and then this entertainment group in Oakland, Jazz Mafia, they actually during the pandemic, all the gigs got shut down, of course. So we
Yeah.
actually had, with the drum line we had, it's called the Hit Squad, the Jazz Mafia Hit Squad. We actually had a couple of gigs booked,
Wow.
but unfortunately, when the pandemic happened, everything shut down.
Yes.
Events were closed, shows were closed. It put everyone's plans in jeopardy. And yeah, we actually had gigs booked, but then we had to pull the plug and we had to quarantine, and it was kind of a weird time. But
Yeah.
that's when Jazz Mafia, so they would be booking all these events in different, private parties and stuff. But what they started to do is these what do you call like live streaming events where they'd set
Yes.
up like yeah they'd set up like a whole
Lots of
ensemble.
live streams during the pandemic, and it
Yeah,
was a really good
exactly.
thing.
Yeah, so they have musical performances in their backyard, and then they'd bring like
Yeah.
a small group of audience, and we did this thing where me and another snare drummer, we did this surprise appearance. Uh,
What?
yeah, with one of the our friend who was playing drum set that night, and the main band leader, he was like super stoked on it. And then they're like, "Oh man, when can we get you guys back? Like that was awesome." Blah blah blah. And, there's a lot of buzz going on because of it.
Yeah, I
It's
love
like, man,
that.
yeah, yeah. So it kind of like inspired us, like, man, we got to keep this going. Like people are really digging it,
Yes.
because drumline is still kind of like relatively like a new thing for people. It's not really out in the public,
Yeah.
except for like until like the movie Drumline came out.
I was just about to tell you. Okay, so my
Yeah,
husband loves that movie Drumline. He's easily
yeah,
seen it like maybe 50 times or more. He
yeah.
loves the freaking movie Drumline. So I think he got popular like in the early 2000s, right? That's when we started to see Drumline really come about.
Exactly. Yeah. Like once that movie came out, Drumline, then everyone got pretty like infatuated with the whole concept of
Yeah.
like drumline, you know, and like now you hear it in like Super Bowl commercials and like, you know, different sporting events and stuff, like drumline drum
Absolutely.
beats, you know. So
Yeah.
it definitely got more popularized because of that movie for sure.
Yes, I've actually seen Badass Drumline perform at the Oakland Coliseum for Raiders, and I know you're a fellow Raider, right?
Right, Raider Nation,
Yes,
baby.
absolutely. I know I'm a little bit sad still that they're in Vegas, but it's okay. It just gives me a reason to go to Vegas one day. Still have not
There you go.
gone.
There you
Still on
go.
my bucket list. Still on my
Yeah.
bucket list.
Yeah, I go to the away games here and there. Me and my friends, we've gone to Houston to watch them play against the Texans, and we've
Oh,
gone.
dude, that must have been an experience. How was that?
Yeah, that was a good time. That was a good time. We went to
Oh
the
my
NASA
God.
Space Center, and we got to have Texas barbecue. It was a good time. We've also went to Miami to watch them play against the Dolphins.
No, you
That
did
was
not.
yeah, we did. Yeah,
What? That's
yeah,
so cool. I
yeah,
would
yeah.
love to do that. That's a good excuse, right? To get away and
Yeah,
go see
it's
some
kind of
stuff.
a fun way to like discover a new city, and then also go watch your favorite football team play. You know.
You know what? I'm gonna do that instead of going to Vegas because my friends went to Vegas and a lot of thousands got left there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm thinking I might want to do a Texas one or something like that. That sounds pretty
Yeah,
fun.
and I'll tell you what, Raider Nation travels really, really well, really well. Yeah,
Yeah.
we went to Miami. We went to, I mean, especially Texas. Holy crap, we saw
So
way
many
more.
Raiders, right? So many
Yeah,
Raiders.
it looked like a Raider home game. I was like, no kidding, bro. Like, look at this.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that. And another thing, speaking of Vegas, is that even though our stadium is beautiful, everything is great, you know, we're this big, beautiful Vegas team now. There's nothing like the spirit that was at the Oakland Coliseum. I mean, I knew it. I knew there was going to be nothing the same. And my bestie of 20 years, she went and she said, you know, it was cool experience. It's huge and there's people everywhere. But there's nothing compared to going to Oakland Coliseum.
Yeah,
I don't even want to talk about it because I'm going to get too sad right here. But
yeah.
let's get back to music real quick, and then I'll let you go because I know you have a lot of things to do today. But before you go, I want to talk about your involvement with the Portuguese community in music. When you did the Dia de Portugal and the BGM 100 year, was that your first time playing for Portuguese audiences?
Um, I think it was actually, yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. Because you
Yeah.
usually play for like American rock bands, right? It's usually rock bands.
Yeah, yeah. So I kind of like got my start playing, as a teenager, playing in like local punk rock bands and metal bands and stuff.
Yeah.
And then in high school, like I played in, all the different music programs like jazz band and concert band and
Oh,
marching band.
wow.
And then I went to music school in LA. I've always gone to the BGM hall, here and there because that's like
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah. Your family is involved with that hall.
exactly, yeah. Like so, my family's involved, and like I grew up there pretty much. I was like a toddler
Yeah.
running around that hall,
Oh my
and
God.
yeah, and then my tia Eugenia, she's a
Eugenia, I love you, Eugenia. Of course,
she's
we're gonna have to tell her to listen to this, right?
yeah, most definitely. Shout out to my tia Eugenia, very beautiful, very
God bless
wonderful
her.
father singer. Yeah,
She
she's great.
is. She is. I loved her voice. And if
Yeah.
there's any chance that I can invite her, I'm gonna invite her because I feel like she needs to sing more. You know,
Sure, yeah, she definitely does. She's got
you
a
have a
great voice.
passion. You have a passion. That's for
She
sure.
does, yeah. And so that was like, one of the things got really exposed to like my family like being involved musically, you know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I've always seen there's live music here and there, but there is also like DJs that when I went to the BJM hall. And
Hmm.
but it wasn't really like I didn't get involved performing. I just kind of liked enjoying the live music and like just
Yeah.
kicking back and partying.
Yeah.
And so, but that was cool when we got to connect through our mutual friend Kevin Camara.
Kevin, shout out to
Yeah,
Kevin Camara. You guys have the same name but not related. What the heck, dude?
yeah,
And both
yeah,
drummers. And both drummers.
exactly. That was a crazy story in itself too. We didn't know each other personally, but the way we knew about each other is because we took drum lessons from the same drum teacher in San
What?
Leandro.
It's,
Yeah,
that's
and then
crazy.
yeah, my drum teacher's like, there's another Kamada that I teach. His name's Kevin. You know him? He's a Portuguese
What?
also. I was like, what, really? And yeah, and because like Kamada is not a very common like Portuguese last name.
No,
It's
it's
kind of
not. And the way that we got in contact is because Kevin played cajon for my Turlock Fairgrounds Festival performance, which that was freaking off the hook. Like they go above and beyond with that whole with that whole festival with the stage,
Yeah.
and
I know. I
they
gotta
have,
check it out.
yes, they have a stage. They give you like your own trailer with air conditioning because it's usually hella hot, right? Air
Yes, yes.
conditioning, a big cooler full of drinks. I
They
mean,
take care of
they
you.
they literally treat you like a star. It's like, what? What's going on here? But it's a very cool experience. And Kevin, he played cajon for me for that performance. But then I wanted him to play cajon for Dia de Portugal, but he was going to New Jersey. He performed in New
Right,
Jersey for the Dia de Portugal there, and that one
right.
was a very great time. And I'm actually kind of happy that happened, because then if it didn't happen, I would have never met Brian. And Brian is very, very talented and very amazing. And like I said, it's kind of crazy that they're both drummers with the same last name. But shout out to Kevin. Thank you for that.
Shout out to Kevin. He's a awesome drummer himself too. He can lay down a really nasty pocket, great feel, really awesome drummer. It's super, really cool guy. Really cool.
Yes, really cool guy. And another thing that I saw you get down on your Instagram, I think it was, I saw you get down to System of a Down, and that was so nostalgic for me. I love
Yeah,
System of a Down. I like
yeah,
know
yeah.
all of their songs. I'm like, yeah, look
Yeah.
at Brian getting down over there. So cool.
Yeah, I like to play all that kind of stuff too. I also been playing like a lot of Latin gigs lately, like salsa and cumbia and stuff like
That's
that.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. So
I'm actually reuniting.
what is your take on that? Do you like to play the fado, the Portuguese, the rock, or are you liking that Latin stuff now? What do you think? You like everything?
Uh, yeah, I like everything. You know, it's kind of like refreshing to being able to jump from one project to another to another. And
Yes.
but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I really do. I love playing the Latin stuff, like salsa and like Latin rock, because
Uh,
like you've seen the dance floor, everybody's salsa dancing. Like you know,
yeah.
it's a lot of energy there, and
It's
it's
fun,
great.
right? It's a
It's a lot of
different, totally different scene, totally different vibe. Like the people are loving life, right?
yeah.
For the music though. For the music.
Hmm.
It's so
Exactly. Yeah.
cool.
But then being able to jump to those different projects too. Like I remember at one point I was playing with my jazz trio at like Drake's Brewery, and then I play another gig playing with my Latin group, you know, at like some
Oh,
club.
dude, totally different worlds right
Yeah,
there. Wait, I was just right there. Now I'm over here. This is
yeah,
insane.
exactly. And then maybe like the next weekend I'm playing, you know, a gig at this dive bar with my metal band, you know.
Yeah,
So I'd
yeah.
be all over the place musically, and it keeps things fresh, you know, to switch it up. So it's a lot of fun that way too. Yeah.
Yes, that's so cool. I love that. So to be an independent freelancing drummer is very cool because you can play all different kinds of music. All
Yeah,
different.
I think that's one of the most important things to like being like a great musician is like trying to being as you know diversified and you know well rounded
Absolutely.
as possible. You know, so it'll make you a better player overall. The more you can take from different things, you know, different styles.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll make you a better
Yes. The
player.
more you learn, the more you know, the more stronger you will be, right?
The sky's the limit. Yeah, just keep
Yes,
going.
sky's the limit. I always say that. And speaking of which, every episode we're going to end off with the mantra of the day. Okay.
Right.
So the mantra of the day for today is, and it's very philosophical. It's actually by Deepak Chopra, which I did his 21 Days of Abundance. It's all about meditation and journaling, and it's a very cool experience. So if anyone wants to know more about the 21 Days of Abundance, please let me know and I could coach you through that. It's very amazing. It's all about manifesting. It sounds like crazy hocus pocus stuff, but it's all real. It all works. It's actually kind of creepy. It's creepy how well the manifestation actually works.
Yeah.
So this quote is, you must find the place inside yourself where nothing is impossible. And that goes very much along with what you just said. The sky is the limit. So you have to find the place within yourself, which all of us have this. Find the place within yourself that nothing is impossible. Anything you want to do, you put it out there, you put that idea out there. If you want it, you will do it. If you're kind of wishy-washy about it, it will never happen. If it's something you really believe in, you really want it, you will find a way to make it happen, right?
Hmm. Yeah. When there's a will, there's a way. Yep.
There's a
Yes,
will,
ma'am.
there's a way. And Brian, thank you so much for being on Amá CONVERSA today. I hope you have a great rest of your day and keep rocking out, dude. And don't worry, whenever I get a chance again, I was going to speak Portuguese right now. Convidar. I'm going to invite you to play it with me again because, dude, you are very talented. God bless you. Keep going.
Right on. Thank you so much, Marissa. Thanks for
Thank
having me. Appreciate
you.
you. Mhm. Bye.
Bye.